Around here, some people would say it's too early, but I think I'm safe. And if I'm not, I can cover my plants. My tomatoes is what I'm planting. I just like to get as big a jump on from my tomatoes as possible because I know when it gets really hot, they seem to not like it as much. 3 or 4 of my tomato plants in this bed last year that had produced tomatoes until it frosted. I had never done that before, ever. We have wires up that John and my other son Dalton put up on Saturday because I really wanted to do this way. So as the tomato grows, when it starts to droop or just big enough, we'll put a tomato clip on the string around the tomato as it goes up, and it's gonna go up, up, up. Some of these I've never planted before, so we'll see. Ponderosa Pink. This is a money maker. I think this one is a hybrid for sure, I think. Most of them are heirloom, but this is honeycomb cherry tomato, which I'm really interested in too because they're supposed to be really sweet. Tiffin Mennonite is another one. It's a potato leaf. I love potato leaf.
Beefsteak.
Beefsteak, just good old beefsteak. All reliable. I plant them a lot.
German Johnson.
German Johnson, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with this, but I've grown that since I was a kid. And then Brandywine is my favorite of all time. I love Brandywine tomatoes. If you like just good eating, slicing, put on a piece of bread with some Duke's mayonnaise, salt and pepper, that's the kind of tomato you want right there. Vintage wine is one that I haven't planted, and it is also, I think, a potato leaf. Polish linguiza. This is a sauce tomato. It's supposed to be like a Roma, but a lot bigger, so we'll see. I plant a lot of sauce tomatoes too because I make a lot of sauce, so the family can eat it all. Oxheart, another awesome sauce tomato, and they're called Oxheart. There's basically sort of a line of tomatoes. They're called heart tomatoes, and they're named with animals basically the size of what. So think about a big ox and how big the heart would be. That's how big these get, and they're just meat. I mean, you cut it in half, and it's just like so much meat on it. And they're not real juicy, but that's what you want in a sauce tomato. You don't want a lot of juice. And these are just sweet Italian basil. It's my old standby, and they'll grow to massive size if they're taken care of. This is a zinnia, and it's a great pollinator, draws a lot of bees. I have sunflower in almost every bed, and that's another thing that draws the bees. I will get the 7 dust out once or usually no more than 1 time a year if I have to do it. And you say that's terrible, you're using pesticide, but I use it very sparingly. And the time, effort, and money that I put into these plants, I can't afford something to eat them. But other than that, that's probably the only chemicals that hit these things. Oh, Miracle-Gro, of course. And you'll see today, I don't even use full strength Miracle-Gro. It's just a little treat kind of drink. I believe everything in moderation is okay. If you get your plants addicted to it, that's a different thing. And I'm not gonna do that. I just use it, maybe it's a really dry year, which we're in a drought basically, it's terrible. We need rain really bad. But I'll do it like at the most every 10 days, not even that sometimes. And it's more or less on the front end. And I use the bloom buster on my vegetables because it's got the potassium and the phosphorus, which help the roots to develop. So let's plant. According to how high it is, you dig the hole, and of course you can work with the hole as much as you want. Just a handful of this, and John said I already went over what's in this. My little secret mix is basically green sand, and I do that for minerals because this is basically compost is growing in. So I think they need some of that. Phosphate to get the roots developed. This is all, nothing chemical based. What else? Oh, bone meal, which gives it a lovely smell, the aroma. That's why it had a top on it. Wood ash, which I told John I need to do some more burning because the wood ash is also good for potash, is what it basically is. And your roots, your plant's roots love it. So do your microbes. And once I got my hole, and I just take it out, and these should pop right out. So this is, I would say, you're crazy not to spend a few dollars and buy some of this. Mycorrhizal inoculant. And this will prevent any kind of, for the most part, any kind of root shock or transplant shock on your roots. And since these roots are not showing real well, Some of these I'll take out and you'll see they're full of roots. This one's just a smaller plant, so hopefully she'll be okay. 2 teaspoons per plant. So I say 2 pinches and just sprinkle it on. This makes all the difference in a young, just transplanted plant. John can give you a close-up of my other ones, which are only 2 days in the ground, and I believe they're starting to grow already. Without that, they wouldn't be growing. No, these are leaves that look totally different than your other tomato leaves. It's just 2 little leaves they get when they first germinate. It's basically for them to have something to photosynthesize while they're growing into a bigger plant. But they're not needed now. And most of the time, if you have a good looking transplant, they'll just be yellow anyways. Okay, so I plant them deep because anywhere along that main stem, they can develop roots where you plant them. So if you want a good root system, plant it deep. The worms are already working like crazy in this bed. We dug a big trench right in the middle of this before we planted anything, and we put several half-cup piles of rice right up through the middle. And I'm gonna keep doing, I'm gonna actually put some rice on top and work it in too. I believe in that. Some people will say, you know, this or that or the other, but I like it. I think the worms are happier and they work a lot harder if they have something to go along with the rest of the food in there. Here's a great example. These leaves right here are coming off. So you can pinch them off. I'll tell you what I did, because everybody makes mistakes, especially me. So I was working with a basil plant the other day, and I was pulling the lower leaves off to get it off the ground. Guess what I did? I broke the whole thing off. So much for that basil plant. So I usually wait till the end to do this, but John, if you want to grab the pitcher, we'll show them. And then I just water this in, and this is has Miracle-Gro in it, but the strength is like a third of what regular Miracle-Gro is. I put Miracle-Gro in about right there, and then I fill it up with water. And this just to help. And I like it because anything to help these plants get established and get them happy, because once they start growing, they're good. This is a very crucial time in their life. Transplanting is always a big thing. So I like to feed them, and they have plenty of food. And this is going to give them a quick meal right off the bat that their roots can use. So just enough to, you know, wet it in good, just go all the way around it. When the hole's open, I usually I take the end of this string, so I'm just going to make a little hole around it, stick it in there, close to the plant. Just, you know, tighten it up a little bit. So once it starts growing, as soon as it's long enough, I'll start clipping and start pruning. Something else you'll notice is that you'll say they're too close together. That's one great thing about doing vertical. Some people call it square foot gardening, and that's basically, I'm not marking square foot off, but that's what I'm looking like. I'm trying to sort of go that way, because these tomatoes are going to take up a lot of space, but it's going to be up in the air. Now, some of the stuff in the middle may not get as good a light, but the basil will still grow. The basil actually compete with the tomato for light, so it'll grow up there. The marigold, I'm not so sure about, but the ones, that's why I put them on the end. Another thing I'm going to plant in here, and I'll probably do it today, if I remember and have time. Garlic. I put garlic in here too. And you'll say, well, garlic doesn't like the heat. Well, guess what? By the time it gets really hot outside, which is feel warm out here today, and it's only because we're on the south side of my house and it gets a lot of heat here. I did add worms to this, so that's where a lot of them come from. But some of them are also from the compost. There was a ton in the compost. So John was worried about them getting along. He said they might, hope they don't fight, which is funny. That's a joke, by the way. The other thing is, you're never going to catch all your suckers, and I'll show you in a later video. As long as my plants grow well, what I do with big suckers that already have blooms and stuff on them. There's an easy way to keep some of them without them taking over, because if you let them go, they'll grow vines almost as big as your main vine. Okay, so we're losing battery. I hope you'll enjoy this, and I want to thank John he's doing all the hard work on the videos. He's doing all the editing and getting them up. I would not be doing well with that myself. So thank you, John, for taking your time to do that. And also helping out here when I'm when I need it. I have so much going this year, I don't know which way to turn sometimes. But anyways, we'll see you next time. Have a good day and get some plants in the ground. It's time.